Welcome to the Revenue Expenditure Report page. We will go over how to enter your transactions manually and then give an example of inserting a QuickBooks export. The first section of this page is the Report Information section, which contains metadata about the data entered. The important part to remember about this spot is that it displays the calculated net amount and number of records which are used when submitting a report to the state reporting system. If we scroll down further to the data entry section, we get to see where the magic happens. To add rows to this section, click the Add Rows button. To delete the last row, click Delete Last Row, or if you want to delete a row in the middle, right-click and then click Delete this row. You can also undo any action by pressing the Undo button. Let's go over how we could manually add a row. Let's say I have a transaction that was paper supplies bought from Office Max on the 1st of the quarter. First, I would select the account name column, double-click, and select my account, in this case supplies. Then I would enter a description, in this case paper, and then I would enter my vendor and my posting date, which in this case is the 1st of the year 2024. And then I would enter the amount. Let's just say it was $50 of worth of paper. Now I'll delete the empty rows, hit Save Report, and now if I wanted to be all done and submit this to the transparency reporting system, I would click Create Transparency Text File. This downloads a text file to my Downloads folder. If I open it up, I can see that I have an auto-generated file name, including the fiscal year, RVEX for revenue expenditure, my entity's name, and then the posting dates for which it spans. And we can see, if we open up this file in a text editor, that it supplemented the information from my account association table. For example, you can see my UCA code here to make my report. And this is the report that I would actually submit to the state reporting system. Let's go over how we could copy and paste over information from an export from something like QuickBooks. I have a fake QuickBooks export right here that has the right formatting already. It has the account column, a description column, check number, pay your vendor name, dates, and the amount. If I wanted to copy a column, I can select the information, press Ctrl-C as in Charlie, go to my data entry section, select the first row and the first column, and press Ctrl-V, and you can see my accounts are now showing up. I could also do all of them at once by selecting all the columns, pressing Ctrl-C, and then Ctrl-V as in Victor, and the data is now all here. Some quick notes. First, in my system, in my accounting software for Test City, all revenues are negative. However, in the Transparent Utah reporting system, both revenues and expenditures must be positive unless they're a reversal. In this case, you can see that my net amount is a little off, right? A negative net amount seems like something's wrong, and that's because my revenues are negative. So I'm going to click this revenues are negative checkbox to multiply all of my revenues by -1. This now changed the net amount to $186,000, and we can see that it flags that revenues are being multiplied by 1 here. Another issue with this report is that I have missing vendor names or payee names right here. So how can we fix that? Well, I can go in here and manually change them, or I can do Fill Vendor Names with this button here. And what it's going to do is for every empty vendor name, it'll fill it with whatever I want. So if I want to fill it with the words not applicable, I can click this button. If I want to fill it with the words redacted, I can click this button, or I can enter a custom name to fill the empty cells with. Let's do not applicable. Now we can see that not applicable was filled for all of my empty rows. Let's now click Save Report and create a transparency text file to download the file to my computer. Great, now I'm ready to go submit my transparency report.